Aries, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your small story reading for the month of February. Sorry for the delay, y'all. Been a bit sick, so we're back. Okay? For these readings, for those of you who are new, I choose a book off the shelf, turn to a passage at random, and read that to you. And then we will pull cards to illuminate that story further. So Aries, the book that wants to speak to you today is this gorgeous Visions of Enchantment. Occultism, Magic, and Visual Culture. It's a collection of papers from the University of Cambridge conference on the subject. The passage I turn to is from this chapter all about Mercury, Venus, and alchemy in Rudolfian Prague. Okay, this is by Nikola Piperkov. I'll put that in the description. What's interesting about this is we're about to enter a Mercury retrograde. This is essentially Small Stories Mercury retrograde edition. Okay. Now, Mercury retrograde is nothing to be afraid of. It's something that happens many times a year. As Mercury's rotation slows, or progress slows in the sky, we have an opportunity to slow down, reflect, rethink all of the ideas around Mercury, which is mental processing, communication processes, electronic processes, especially since so much of our communication is electronic. Okay, so of course this is going to affect interpersonal relationships. Hence, we come here to Mercury and Venus. The painting that we're being pointed to in particular, I'll just show this to you. It's called Amor Binds Mercury at the Order of Venus. Okay, circa 1600, sometime between 1637. So we're looking at Mercury here being bound by Eros, or Amor, or Cupid, at the behest of Venus, who stands here looking quite proud of herself. All right, Aries, so I think we're essentially looking at your Mercury retrograde theme here, potentially, for those of you who this reading is going to resonate with. I'm going to read a little bit about this painting to you. Okay. Where are we going to start here? Great. We're going to read the inscription that's at the bottom here. It goes like this. Love yields to nothing, but wisdom yields to love. You see that love lays bonds on Mercury, and therefore you will happily sacrifice to Mercury once love, appeased, loves your offerings. Okay, so this is essentially like love has rule over everything, because love yields to nothing, and yet big things like wisdom, okay, which Mercury would rule, yields to love. Love must be appeased, first and foremost, is what this inscription is saying. Okay, and then it goes on to talk a little bit about this and start to relate it into alchemy, okay? Some of these concepts might be a little confusing, but you can look up alchemy to really dive into it deeper, and I think you'll get the overall symbolic meaning. So here we go. It's talking about this like thick cloud of smoke that's being produced because of that offering to appease love, to appease Venus. That's what's happening in the background. See that thick cloud of smoke? It goes like this. The offering produces a thick cloud of smoke, which indicates the chemical inflection of Sprenger's design. According to some commentaries on Aristotle's meteorology, smoke symbolizes the physical properties of Mercury. Some call him fugitive, for he flies away like smoke when heated. This is why Aristotle says that Mercury is of an aerial nature, for that reason, not coagulable. Like you can't rein him in because his element is air. In light of that reading, Killian's engraving shows by figurative means the physical process of coagulation or fixation, which characterizes the ultimate stage of the alchemical process known as rubedo. The never solid, always fleeing Mercury, arrested by Eros on the order of Venus, forms an allegory of the ternary principle of alchemical creation, whereby Mercury symbolizes the spirit, Eros the body, and Venus the soul. It is only when trapped in a body, Eros, by the will of the soul, Venus, that spirit, Mercury, will coagulate and can be fixed in the material form of the Philosopher's Stone. Sprenger's composition thus refers to the search for the Philosopher's Stone, for this substance. The stone is also properly called Mercury by the philosophers because it has the properties of Mercury in its whole nature and keeps them in the beginning, the middle, and the end. In the end, because although the rubedo is extracted from its secrets, nonetheless, its whole matter is mercurial because the more perfect metals are, the more mercury and the less sulfur they have. For this reason, only gold is entirely deprived of sulfur. In his recipe for obtaining the Philosopher's Stone, Lorenzo Ventura insists that the perfect stone and the perfect element should be completely deprived of sulfur, like gold. As in Ventura's recipe, Killian's engraving shows the mixture of the three primary philosophical principles, and more specifically the mixture of mercury and sulfur personified by Mercury and Venus. Meanwhile, Killian's subscriptio, the subscription there, suggests that you will happily sacrifice to Mercury once love, appeased, loves your offerings. In other words, even if the perfect element is deprived of sulfur, it is only through the addition of sulfur, Venus, that the ever-flowing liquid silver, Mercury, can be finally transmuted and captured in the form of philosophical gold, Eros. Everybody following me here? We're talking essentially about this like alchemical process that is mimicking part of the myth of Mercury, which is that of the hermaphrodite, which is binary concepts, in this case embodied by male and female, coming together to merge as one. That's really what we're talking about. And the alchemical process is a process of purification. And so I think we're saying that like the wrangling of this mercurial element, the element of the mind, the element of wisdom, the element of thought and communicative processes is necessary in order to merge it with this element of Venus, this element of the heart. And really essentially merging the mind and the heart forms gold, which is the body. This is the road to embodiment, according to this passage and according to this concept that's coming through in your small story. Aries, it's a lot already, as it usually is. Okay, let's go over to this El Goliath shadow deck and see if we can illuminate this concept a little further for you here. Couple shuffles, and we're gonna dive right in. Okay. 3 cards here for Aries, please. The small story for Aries in February. Mercury retrograde for Aries. 1 card, 2 cards, and the 3rd. Let's see what we've got. Beautiful. Okay. Intense cards. Strength, the Hierophant, and the King of Swords. Yeah. I want you to notice how first in the Hierophant, we've got these energies. I'm being drawn to the energies pointing in opposite directions, but yet they're the same being. And they're linked by something here. They're linked by bones. And I'm getting something about like their merging is the ascension, and that leads you to the key. I know this reading's really obtuse. Hope you're still with me. Similar thing happening here with the strength energy. The strength energy talks about different, in the tarot, it typically talks about different energies merging. The energy of like gentle, open-hearted, kind, soft compassion with the ferocity and the beast nature of the lion. These things coming together. And it's interesting that like the lion, this huge, massive, ferocious beast with these big giant teeth, much larger than the snake, is showing major fear here. Showing major vulnerability, and that's why it's feeling the need to defend. And the snake here, secure in its strength and its venom, shows calm. Its hood is not on display. It's showing calm in the face of the lion's fear. There seems to be that same energy of like the opposites sort of merging to come together and join in strength. That's how you find courage, in allowing those different parts of your nature to come together, allowing the heart, Venus, to wrangle the mind a bit. But what's interesting here, and that leads you to this commitment to your higher self. That's how I see the Hierophant. I do see the Hierophant as commitment. Sometimes it's to other people, but what I'm seeing more so here is a commitment to your own blending of energies, the blending of energies within yourself, your own mental, emotional energy, which can sometimes be at war with one another. This is Mercury and Venus coming together within you to lead you to like the key to your higher self, or the key to your own ascension as a spiritual being, which is, funny enough, sort of coming through as embodiment for you. Because again, the alchemical process of soul and spirit mixing together to form the body, to form gold, which is the thing that's trying to harness both of these energies to begin with. But notice how Eros, the body, is at the bidding of Venus, the heart. And Venus in astrology, the way I see it, governs what you value. What you value will, if I can talk, will determine where and how you focus your mind, how you harness the powers of your mind. And then again, swords element, the powers of the mind, with this King of Swords, or the Father of the Night, I think it says. And what I'm seeing is the moment after the focused attack. And we do see this blending of energies happening in the darkness with the light, okay? This King of Swords with a very pointed attack is able to get its prey, is able to see through the darkness with very pointed vision, with very pointed focus, and not only see it, but go after it, which is, to me, sort of this allegory for you being able to speak your truth only once the energies of the heart are harnessed. This is the card of Leo in the tarot, and Leo moves from the heart. Leo is heart expansion, heart expression, even through fear. Allowing these energies, the part of you that wants to be a fierce beast and the part of you that's a soft mush, okay, for example, allowing them to come together, coagulate to bring in the reading. And that's what I'm seeing here, these two parts coagulating in order to allow you to harness your mind in order to speak your truth, in order to go after something very pointedly and specific with specific focus. There's a need to hone in on something specific here once you are able to coagulate those energies. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a card of protection here, this beautiful deck by Karina Dross, the Protective Fortitude deck. Before we go into that, I am going to take this reading into an extended, okay? This is just a small story, a little taste of what this energy is bringing us. I'm going to go in and use the Dark Exact to really get some clarity on this situation. Figure out what this sort of large, conceptual, obtuse message is really trying to talk about specifically in your life and how that might be playing out, okay? So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, click the link in the description. It'll take you over to Vimeo where you can view that extended reading instantly right there and then, okay? So let's get you a portable fortitude card, protection card. What is the fortitude for Aries at this time? Interesting. Protection from objectification. This looks like you, Aries, the child of the zodiac. We're seeing this child on display. The child looks like they're looking up to a parent or maybe a group of people that's sort of all looking down and watching them to see what they're going to do. Maybe the child's going to perform a trick. Maybe there's some element here of performance that I'm tapping into with the objectification idea. Protection from objectification. It's sort of like, no. This isn't about you being on display here, Aries. This isn't about you acting in a way you think you should based on how others view you and how others see you. No, this is a completely internal process with yourself. This is about elements of yourself coming together to coagulate. This is about your heart and your mind working together to open doors to a stronger version of yourself that comes out the other side with more focus than you've ever had before. And that process is dependent on you being able to separate yourself from the objectification or the gaze of others at this time. Okay. Very curious, Aries, to see how this is going to play out in the extended. Maybe I'll see you there, maybe not. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, it helps a lot if you click that like button. Maybe leave me a comment and let me know how this is resonating with you. It just helps the channel grow and helps me to feel connected to y'all. So thanks for watching, Aries. Take care. There's an internal emotional balance that needs to be found and a releasing of past emotional investments in order to unify with yourself now and go after something very specific. Let's see if we can get a little bit more on the King of Swords. What is Aries going after? Strength card again, Lion. Strength card again, you fierce beast. I'm being drawn to these little ferns here. The gentle delicacy of the fern with the ferocity and the claws of the lion. That's the alchemy. That's the alchemy here. And you, my friend, clearly are the alchemist. What else can we get? What is this King of Swords? Yeah, it's something new. Ooh, something new and very tangible. Page of Swords, why do I keep saying swords? My gosh. Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. This is, remember how I was saying this feels like sort of a next level of embodiment for you? Here we are in the element, the earth element, the element of embodiment.